I've been doing WATS, Who Are These Socials, with Carl the last few weeks.
Mhm.
I think the last episode was our best one so far. Go check it out. But there's a now new group of people hearing my voice for the first time. And this happened when I started a Barstool, when I started on Kirk's show. I have a very distinct voice. And for whatever reason, people will try. There has not been anyone who has nailed the impression of me yet.
Well, it's such a deep, full voice. It's hard. I can't
But
really
it seems it's so weird, and it's been commented on so much that I would think someone would be able to replicate it. Honestly, I think Kirk has nailed the cadence when he has the steak and couscous or whatever the
I
fuck.
was I was gonna say the cadence you can get, and people can imitate you saying couscous.
But yeah, so that's where you go. That's the Dana Carvey not gonna do it of my impression.
Right.
But like I was listening to WATP, and someone left a voicemail for them, and it was me. I called in, but it's the thing where like you have to say the person's name in the impression to let everyone know who it is.
Mhm.
Like he goes, "Ooh, I'm Blind Mike. This is how I talk." Oh God, it was really bad. And then there was someone on their Reddit page that said, "Why does Blind Mike talk like W.C. Fields?" And then all the replies were like, "He doesn't." That's a horrible comparison. People cannot nail my voice for some reason. I don't know why.
It is unique for sure, and
It's weird. So you would think I would think it would be an easy impression. So
I like the people
fire
that
away,
think
folks.
the people
Send
that
us your
think
tries.
the people that think it's fake are my favorite.
Yeah, like I would choose that. That's what I always say about Mark Normand. Like, why would he choose that voice?
I mean, like if you call Blind Mike on the phone, same voice
Hello, hello there, sir.
with a hint of why are you calling me?
Yes. What? What do you want? I always, I guess my signature on the phone is I'm not very good at hiding that I have no interest in talking on the phone because the words I'm saying will be like pleasant, but I'll be like, "Hello there." you know, I feel like
Yes, that
it
sounds
gives
great.
it away a little bit.
Yeah, it's accurate. I only call if it's important.
Yes, I understand.
I'm like, "You wanna get
Yeah.
wings this weekend,
So let's
buddy?"
get some. Yeah. Please don't call it that. But yeah, let's get some blind mic impressions going for God's sake. I would think it would be easy.
Yeah, I wanna hear those. I definitely wanna hear them.
Someone will nail it, and then everyone will be able to do it. Once you figure it out, then it'll be easy to do. I would think.
Yeah, it's either, get the octave right or nail the cadence so well, like you can do like the trump caller,
Right. Right. Yeah.
that it's all about that.
Yeah. So also listening to WATP, I can't tell. Like, this might be me. I feel like Carl and Vinny aren't a fan of me. I feel like they don't like me. I can never tell.
Why would you s
Because every time my name is brought up around Vinny, he'll like insult me, and then he goes, "Nah, I'm kidding. I like the guy." I'm like, I feel like he's lying.
Vinnie Paulino?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they like me more is what it is, I think.
I think that might be it. Honestly, sadly, I think that might be true.
That would
Yeah.
actually make it funny. They're like, "Well, he does have 20,000 followers on Twitter."
They don't realize it's meaningless. None of them listen to me when I tweet.
Yeah, we should just put up with it, right?
Yeah. So go listen to "Who Are These Socials?" A big hit. People seem to be enjoying it. I think. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, well, I guess we have to start with because usually I wait till I'm on KMS to address these subjects, but I won't be for I don't know a week and a half or 2 weeks or something.
While
Yeah, so I figure they may not even bring it up the next time I'm on. So I listened to Klemmer yesterday.
me as well.
What was the consensus? Did everyone enjoy him on there? I didn't see much negativity.
No, I thought he did really well.
Oh, I thought he did well. I'm just curious. I was wondering what the people thought. If they hated it, loved it.
Middle ground probably.
Yeah. My take on it was, I I was surprised. So I was the last to come around on the condescending Klemmer train. Like when people talk about the way he would speak to Justin and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't see it for a long time, ironically. and
No.
yeah, and I don't know. I was the last to come around, but now it's all I can see. Like, you know, the How I Met Your Mother episode when it's like you're blinded to when you first start dating someone,
Yeah.
but then you can't unrealize it once it's pointed out to you.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the vibe I got from Klemmer yesterday, where like one of his last appearances on KMS. Remember, I pointed out something he said about me that was very dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm willing to acknowledge, since this is about me, maybe I'm sensitive to it and looking at it, scrutinizing it too much. But like when I came up, the way he addressed me, like obviously, I didn't think when I said, "Hey, ask him about Norm from Cheers." I didn't think that would be a Hall of Fame KMS moment. That was kind of the point of it. But I thought Chris would like have fun with it. Go, oh well, let me tell you. He goes, I guess he thought of it in the car on the way. He's like, oh, do I have to answer this? Kirk, am I right? Am I going to answer this clown's horse shit? And then immediately when Kirk is like, do you think Norm lived in the city or the suburbs? Chris is like, well, actually, that's very interesting you asked that. All of a sudden he pipes up.
Us Barstool guys need to stick together.
Yeah. So there is a dismissive attitude. And I think the way he portrayed our interaction was strange as well.
I didn't publicly say anything.
Yeah, he's still kind of like mad at Craig, which I don't understand.
Yeah. And I know he was pissed off. Now it was a whole new thing because now this time he was pissed that I touched on, because I didn't read verbatim our DMs. I might have said one just because
But they were DMs.
Yeah, no,
You sent the screenshot he was talking about. He made it seem like you sent a picture
of his wife,
of his wife or something, which didn't happen. You sent a screenshot saying like this person unsubscribed, basically. And to be perfectly clear, guys, I understand if you don't feel like spending the money here. Believe me, save a few bucks. Put it in the stock market or something.
We got you.
We totally get it. So I appreciate anyone supporting, but don't feel like you need to. But that was another dismissive moment where Cullinane was like, well, then if it wasn't to send a message, was it about the money? And Chris was like, oh, yeah, like I really need the $5, which would kind of felt like, Mike needs this a lot more than me. And, hey, listen, I know. I'm not saying I'm very well off, but keep your $5. It's fine.
I don't need it.
I appreciate the support, but if it's a waste of money to you, don't be. If you feel like it's a waste of money, don't be here.
Right. I knew it was going to be too like a situation where what he wants to say to you, he's going to take it out on me.
I was actually surprised by that. I thought because I wasn't there, I would be the one that caught the brunt of that. But no, it was you. He went down even another notch.
No, I know, because I didn't tweet it. I didn't say anything. I said Chris.
And to be clear, he didn't say anything bad. He wasn't over the top and bad. He didn't bash anyone. It was just a vibe, an attitude that I picked up on.
Yeah, I was stunned it was still a thing. It sounded like it was still bugging him.
Yeah, and even my other two questions, which were serious questions, like not serious questions, but you know what I mean. In that world, I was looking for a serious answer about he lied about the 95 Mariners thing. Because when people asked him originally, he said, it's some legal stuff or some stuff with like headquarters, like as if he was being, the 95 Mariners were being silenced by corporate.
I did like the way you phrased it though. When's the lockout end?
Yeah, but then now it's a Wi-Fi issue. So I suspect that's a lie. I suspect he could figure out. I think there's wireless internet in New York. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean they have he said the Wi-Fi at his place stinks, but I'm almost positive there is a room dedicated to streaming video games.
My understanding is Barstool is an internet company, I believe. So I'm pretty sure they could figure that out if you wanted to do it. So the answer is he doesn't want to do it. And then the other question was, what happened to movies of the millennium? Now, again, that was a very dismissive hand where he's like, I'm doing a podcast with Brandon. Whoa, excuse me. I didn't realize Brandon Walker was doing a podcast with you. I forgot the Cap was one podcast. And then my answer would have been like, hey, the movies of the millennium thing, if you want to talk about every movie from the 2000s, make a fucking TikTok. You're at one of the biggest social media companies on the planet, honestly.
Yeah, I don't
Make a
get.
TikTok account where you talk about those movies. That's perfect for that.
I don't
A
get.
2-minute review on every movie he wants to do.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
You know, it doesn't have to be a podcast. And that was my point of the question, but he received it like, oh, I gotta, deal with this, guys. I just pictured him, because I couldn't see the video, obviously. I just pictured him looking at Kirk like, you got to deal with this bozo twice a week. You know?
They're also big on like Snapchat shorts. So Instagram, Snapchat, any of them. Post them everywhere.
Perfect for it. Yeah.
TikTok. This is why
I'm a fountain of ideas. I can't think of any good ideas for myself, but I'm a fountain of ideas for this guy.
Yeah, and I don't get why I think he actually hates me, which is funny. And we used to talk, and like when he was going through his problems at the beginning of the baseball streams, I would tell him what I think was going on. I would make suggestions how to make that smoother. Like I was always trying to help the guy.
I wanted to hold that for the segment where Craig makes it about him, but he spoiled it. He did it too early.
It was about us.
We're focusing too much on Mike. We got to get to the Craig.
This show is the devil.
Yeah. So those are my basic thoughts. Was that he was I wasn't like crazy, and now it's going to be a thing where like I have to be a rival of his. Like he seems like a nice guy, but there is that dismissive attitude that he has, and it's hard for me to unnotice that now. Like I was being spoken to like the same way he talked to Justin, basically. That's how I felt. Maybe I'm being too sensitive to it, but that was my takeaway from it.
I would say you're 2 to 3 levels below him, so obviously.
Yes, right, yeah. So I'm still climbing, still working towards that level.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I can only hope. But yeah, and does he think like I couldn't make fun of a sports movie podcast? Look it's no different than what I'm doing with Why Are You Laughing? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't make fun of his shit like that. I mean, I would actually be interested. If he was doing the Mariners stream, I would still be watching it. So it was just kind of funny the way he responded. Like when my name came up, it was kind of like, oof.
I really enjoyed the Mariners streams.
I think we all, as a nation, did. It was America's pastime.
There was a fun period of getting followed by 1995 Mariners athletes on Twitter. Like
I don't know if I caught that.
Yeah, I would be all of a sudden I would be followed by like 95 Lou Piniella, 95 Randy Johnson.
That's fun.
It was very funny.
So that was my basic takeaway. Maybe you guys disagree, but the theme of today's program will be creeps of all shapes and sizes, it seems. And backgrounds. We've got creeps from all different backgrounds. We've got Brendan Schaub, who's a fan favorite. Chris D'Elia. There's a documentary about Chris D'Elia on YouTube now called The Chris D'Elia Problem that I really want to dive into. I think it was very well done. And then OJ did a podcast that I thought was kind of funny. So we'll break all of those down today. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you guys, blindmike.net. If you're listening to this for free and you say, Mike, how can I help? We don't look down at you. We don't think you're lesser than. We'd like to make up for the Klemmer family leaving in droves. We had the whole family back here, and now there's just Chris.
Chris is still a patron.
Yes, I suspect he won't be after that.
I just want to make that crystal clear.
Yes, that may not be the case much longer. But if you like to make up for that, and no, we won't go to your house. We'll just call you. If you have a landline, we will call you. But short of that, we will not. We will not go to your home if you unsubscribe. But we do appreciate it. If you like the podcast only, don't do us any favors. But you can find that at blindmike.net. That's where you can find the Patreon, as well as the free links, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. So you can support the show that way as well, if you'd be so kind. And like I said, WATS. We will have in the new year, we'll have its own RSS feed and things, I believe.
Why Are You Leaving is an idea that would be so good if it was like able to be done.
I just wouldn't do that to people.
That would be so funny.
It would be very fun. Well, it would be funny once, No,
if we did Blind Mike Project exit interviews, that would be so funny.
It would be funny, but like I think most cancellations are like someone didn't realize that their card ran out, and it was someone that doesn't watch that often, so they're not going to realize it for a couple of months,
because they often come back.
Yeah. So
I'm still watching.
yes, yeah, we monitor very heavily.
Yeah.
So should we start with Dalia is the thing I'm most interested in talking about today.
Yep.
So skip ahead if you want that, but I think we gotta ease into it with a little Brendan Schaub.
Of course.
So I clicked on this with the wrong intentions. I said, "Ooh, baby, Chet Hanks, our old pal, is on The Fighter and the Kid. That is a mishmash of idiocy that you read about."
Chetana.
Well,
he doesn't show up.
Actually, you might want to pull that clip up if you wouldn't mind, because I feel like it's applicable to the first question we have.
The Chetana?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that. Oh, man.
So Chet Hanks was on with Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen, and I thought, oh, this will be three idiots in a room together. That'll be fun. And they go out of their way almost to make Chet seem not just likable, but like intelligent. He is easily the smartest guy in the room. And it's funny, I should have known that, because I think one of the early times I was on WATP, we did The King, the Sting, and the Wing, which was Dalia, Schaub, and Theo Vaughn at the time. And they had Chet Hanks as a guest. And Chet was easily like the most mild-mannered, intelligent one in the room. And so it turns out we just have clips that show really what a horrible interviewer Brendan Schaub is and what a dimwit he is. But I think the first clip shines more of a light on Brian Callen, if I remember correctly.
Do you want me to play the Chetana first?
I think you'll see when it's appropriate. But this was a question. Just keep that clip in mind. Keep the clip you're referring to. Keep it in mind. Keep in mind Chet Hanks's rap lyrics. Keep in mind the fact that he used to go by Chet Hayes, and even now that he goes by Chet Hanks, he spells it with an X. Keep in mind that he's Tom Hanks's son and has a rap career and talks like he's from the streets. Just keep all that in mind when you're listening to Brian Callen point this question at him.
You know what I like about you, dude? I'm gonna say this out loud. You grew up in Hollywood. You grew up with all the trappings, and you're not Hollywood. You did a good job of resisting the insanity and the embrace that causes you to be out of touch with reality. And I feel like
no, that's totally Craig. If I may, let's hear how realistic Chet Hanks has always been.
Big up the whole island, massive. It's your boy Chetana coming straight from the Golden Globe.
That's a realistic guy who's really grounded and knows where he came from.
Big Jordan.
It's honestly like if SNL was writing a joke script for them to ask him. And like I said, I think Chet Hanks has changed a lot. And I think this interview was kind of a good example of how he is now, I think, a little more grounded and realistic about himself. And he talks about how he regrets some of the stuff he did when he was younger. But the idea, it would be like saying to Britney Spears, like, but you seem to have it all together.
He also came out with White Boy Summer last year.
Yeah, exactly. Now, that brand did sweep the nation. That had the country in a craze for a summer. So it's hard to argue the marketing. But my point is the idea of a guy saying Chet, it would be like right now saying to Kanye, like, your thoughts on race have always been right down the middle. I think you
nailing it.
Was there more to that clip? Or, yeah.
Oh, sorry, what?
Was there more to that clip?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot more.
Kind of understanding the dangers therein. Maybe it's because your parents.
That was the other thing I want to point out. Their questions never end.
Never.
It's the longest. Like, let the guy answer, Brian. We understand the question. You don't have to give us 9 analogies for it.
You can see they do the interviews where the person they're interviewing often does the the inhale, like they're about to start talking, and then
Yeah.
just stop.
Yeah, Chet's checking his watch.
people, and they knew how to
Yeah,
raise
you'd have
a
to
real
chalk it up
human
to the
being.
parents, right? Shout out to your mom.
Yeah.
and dad.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's also
Those kids suck.
there's a limit to what parents can do. The kids got to
Hold on.
Most
Brendan.
kids suck.
What does that mean? Brian is asking now. This is how dumb Brendan is that the shit I was giving Brian, Brendan says, hold my beer, if you will. I got this, buddy. I'm going to make you look smart. Because now Brendan has shifted the question to all children are dumb. Brian is specifically saying, like, hey, Hollywood's a crazy place. You know, growing up in Hollywood must be pretty difficult, which is accurate. The idea that Chet Hanks was grounded as a child is utter nonsense. But the question is based in reality. And then Brendan says, oh, I understand what you're saying, B. Kids are morons.
Kids are so dumb.
Yeah, boy, you've really hit the nail on the head, Brendan, as usual. You've really pinpointed where this conversation was going.
understand where he fits in the universe, where he fits in the world.
A lot of it's parenting, though, for sure.
Don't disagree with me, but no, but I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
yes, it is. But it's also, as an individual, you go, hold on, I see the dangers over here. I'm going to move over here. Maybe music saved you.
Was it designed like that?
Music saved you.
Yeah, maybe music, maybe the idea that you were pretending to be from fucking Compton. Well, your dad is Forrest Gump. Maybe that's what saved you as a man.
I don't know why that got me.
It's like you didn't want to be in that. Like you saw what your dad has to deal with.
The credit definitely goes to my parents for how they raised me.
Again,
Just-
hold on, Brendan. Rewind that, because Brendan is completely not getting it. He goes, "Oh, is that what you didn't want to deal with? What your dad dealt with?" Chet Hanks is a musician and actor and hosting a podcast. He's not running away from the limelight.
Not at all.
This question is for if Tom Hanks had a son that was in finance that changed his last name so no one would know who he was. It's unbelievable that this was directed at Chet Hanks.
I know, kidding.
I'm going to move over here. Maybe music saved you.
Was it designed like this? Like you didn't want to be in that. Like you saw what your dad has to deal with.
The credit definitely goes.
Brendan,
to my-
go watch. Obviously, you did a lot of prep. Go watch him with Rude Jude, and tell me this is a grounded man. Why won't you let my boy hit up the vending machine, son? Rude Jude is like, well, Chet, because it's against the rules. Please sit down.
Parents for how they raised me, just because
Yeah,
they're not
Brian.
Hollywood. They want to be like as low key as possible. They don't like doing any of that shit. They're very, very just under the radar. But also, like there were kids that I knew growing up that would like the type of kids that would be like, do you know who I am? And that shit to me was just, I never related
But
to
it's
that.
not about that.
I was never that type of dude
But
ever.
that's
to be
not what
like,
You were a little bit, but also this is what like kind of endeared me to Chet now is that he's like, I mean, I guess sure these guys are blowing me. I might as well go with it. Yeah, I am a pretty grounded guy. But like I said, Chet was good in this interview, and I only listened to the first 40 minutes because it was getting pretty exhausting. But I thought he did a good job. Someone who did not do a good job is the gentleman sitting next to him. What's our next clip?
Outlaw.
This is, but you're gonna hear this word a lot. I think it comes up in the rest of the clips I have, amazingly. But again, this is Brendan with zero comprehension of what the conversation is.
Yeah.
You're almost like when it comes to your family, you're almost like the dark horse. Like you're gonna go your own route.
By the way, he is definitely trying to say black sheep, but said dark horse.
Thank you. You know what? I couldn't figure it. It was like a Rubik's cube in my mind. I was like, where does he mean to go there? Because dark horse doesn't fit. Yeah, clearly that's what he meant. The black sheep.
Yes.
It's like the dark horse. He's like the underdog. Why would that be the case?
Dark horse.
You're almost like when it comes to your family, you're almost like the dark horse. Like you're gonna go your own route. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're a bit of an outlaw in that sense. It'd be easy to go.
It's like I'm loving this. Yes, I'm an outlaw.
He just goes, yeah.
Yeah. You know what, Brendan? You're right. I am an outlaw.
I am the man.
I am. That's what outlaws do. They use daddy's money to rent a recording studio and piss all over the Sirius XM hallways when you're doing interviews.
Most of us think you'd go down. You know?
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it.
Yeah, when it comes to Hank's family, you're the outlaw. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Your dad's like, yeah.
I just
In what way? Even Chet is like, that's a cool way to put, because right there, Chet is talking about how, like, he kind of regrets some of the things he did as a kid. Like, he felt like he acted like an idiot back in the day, and he's learned from that, and he's matured. And so Brendan's perception of that is, oh, you were an outlaw. And Chet's like, I mean, that's a cool way to phrase it, I suppose.
Meanwhile, the same time, he's like, if I could, I would change lives with my dad, like right now.
But there's nothing in Chet's life that would suggest he's an outlaw. That Chetina thing is from like a red carpet event.
He does it a bunch, and he does it in his music.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, like, he's mingling with the Hollywood elite. He's not some rogue. He's not a cowboy. He's not a maverick.
White boy summer, though.
It's not a bad thing.
Nah, I was just
an inaccurate thing, Brendan. That's more the reaction you're seeing on my face, Brendan. It's more that I'm puzzled by the question. I don't think you're insulting me. I just think you're a moron.
He's like looking at his watch, like, how long into this are we?
This is 5 minutes in, and they have about an hour and 40 to go.
I'm just being myself at the end of the day, But at a certain point when I was younger, it's like I really wasn't being true to myself, because it's almost like because like I said, I was operating from insecurity, so I was really like overcompensating to like do bad shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Again, beautiful answer by Chet. An answer that if you were scripting, if you knew who Chet Hanks was a few years ago, and you're his PR team saying, how do we make this guy more likable? That's the answer that you would have written. And Brendan's like, yeah, you get what I mean. You're an outlaw. He's like, no, kind of the opposite. I'm kind of saying I regret all of that.
This next one I like. It's endless improv.
This is fucking exhausting. How long? Do you have the exact time? How long is this clip?
This clip is minute 45. See
if you can hang in, guys, because this is one question. And I'm pretty sure in the clip, we don't even hear Chet's answer. This is Chet, mind you, on a pretty big platform. I think The Fighter and the Kid still does pretty good numbers. So he's on a pretty big platform promoting that he's going to do a podcast. And the guy he's doing the podcast with is there in the room, which I did not realize as a listener. Did not realize the guy was in the room because they did nothing to incorporate him. Great interviewers, really make you feel at home. Did nothing to acknowledge this guy. And Chet's like, oh, well, this is actually my co-host. That spurs the most bizarre improv I've ever heard in my life. Oh, you'll hear it. But Chet gives a pretty simple answer, and it launches into this.
Fuck it.
You're about to
It's
do a
2022.
podcast,
yeah, we're about to release a podcast. I got my co-host right here, Josh Stroh.
We're gonna call it Outlaws.
Hold on, Brendan. No. Stop pushing. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's Outlaws is not working.
Muscular.
Yeah. Outlaws.
I think it's just going to be called the
White
Chet
guys.
Hanks Show.
White guys.
I think it's just going to be called the Chet Hanks Show.
He's like, hey, guys, I'm giving you an out. Here's the name. The Chet Hanks Show. Pretty simple. We don't need to spitball ideas. This isn't a brainstorming session. I know what I'm going to call it. We're how far into the clip?
8 seconds.
Okay, 8 seconds. So we got a bit of a long way to go.
I call it muscular.
Yeah. Outlaws.
I think it's just going to be called the
white
Chet
guys.
Hanks Show.
White
It's
guys.
going to be called Two Whites in Hats. This Thursday.
Two jacked
Coming to
whites.
Fox.
Called it jacked and white.
Now we've changed it to a television show.
This is
It's
also
now a podcast this Thursday coming to Fox for some reason.
It's just also a problematic thing they're going to go down. Please
There's
don't.
no reason for it. Chet did not say, hey, like, we're two, bros talking about bro stuff. He didn't. All he's talked about so far is how he has learned from his past mistakes and he has changed as a guy and he wants to be more of an adult now. And that's what spurred this improv, is this evolved man you see before you. a guy that we used to mock that we're saying is genuinely seems like he's grown up now. You know, it took him a while to mature because he was a kid in Hollywood, but now he's in his 30s. He seems like an adult. And for some reason, let's go back to the beginning, actually, because I want you to get the full scope of how nonsensical this rant is.
Fuck it.
You're about to
It's
do a podcast,
2022. Yeah, we're about to release a
What are you
podcast.
gonna
I
call
got
it?
my co-host right here, Josh Stroh.
We're gonna call it Outlaws.
Gonna call it muscular.
Yeah, Outlaws.
I guess it's going to be called the
White
Chet Hanks
guys,
Show.
white
It's
guys,
supposed to be called Two Whites in Hats. This Thursday,
two jacked
coming to
whites.
Fox.
Called it jacked and white.
Just what
Jacked
America,
and white.
America can't get enough of. Two whites in hats.
These
We're
guys
talking real.
He's literally. I'm sorry to stop, but Brendan is literally mocking them for starting a podcast.
Also, it would be like if I was like, oh, you're chubby and you have a dumb beard to cover your fat face. It's like, Brendan, who do you think you're describing?
That's what he just said. He goes. That's what America needs: two whites in hats.
Yeah, two white guys. Yeah, Brendan, you're not a bro at all. You don't come off like a jacked bro douchebag. It's good that you're making fun of Chet for this and not looking in the mirror at all.
These guys are straight, white, and jacked.
Root for them. Root
Just
for
have
them.
my face
How do
introducing
they think
these
people
guys are
see their
straight.
podcast?
Was it?
How do these two think people see their podcast?
I have no idea.
Like, who do they think they're making fun of?
They're literally making fun of themselves at this point in time.
It's as if they were in a mirror shop, and we're like, look at these two assholes, and just go on a rant about themselves for another minute and a half.
So Chet Hanks is wearing a Detroit Tigers hat.
What a piece of shit.
Schaub is wearing a San Diego Padres hat.
Now that's much cooler. Don't you see the difference? It's much less of a bro town, San Diego.
Yeah,
There are many more bros in Detroit.
it's true.
White and jacked.
They like to work out.
Yeah.
You think they're just bros. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
This Sunday on Fox.
I can't emphasize enough. Bro culture did not come up once before this.
Not a single one.
It was never suggested that this would be a podcast about bro culture.
Well, it is now.
It has to be now.
People are now, because this is promoting it. They're going to go.
It's all in the marketing. Yeah.
This isn't what I was told it was.
It's Chet having philosophical discussions.
Yeah.
Like, this is bullshit.
He's talking about like the struggles of growing up with his dad being who he is,
Right.
and they're like, dude, this isn't like gangster.
We got a long way to go. We can't keep interrupting this. We got
Sure.
about 9 years left on this clip.
This clip has a minute left. I'm just gonna play it.
Simpsons. It's Chet Hanks.
Chet Hanks, watch these guys curl in slow motion and bonus footage when they spot each other.
Oh, did we
Yeah.
mention they have 8-inch cocks?
Hey, whoa!
Wait, this
Why?
BT late night.
Today's leg day. These guys go ass to
This comes out of
grass.
nowhere.
Yeah.
We're talking about flexible fucking
These
hips.
guys ride a motorcycle nuts to butts,
Nuts.
and they go fast.
They're gay now? I don't understand.
Last name?
Apparently,
Ah, Hanks and Stroh.
Stroh.
What's your first name again? Fucking
Stroh.
Chet and Josh. You guys make up your mind.
This Thursday, they're strolling it up.
Fuck the
Why is it
testosterone.
always
meter
Thursday?
is
He's
red hot.
insisting that it's Thursday.
I don't know. He thinks it's a commercial.
Next Tuesday, they're going to work out without their shirt.
Ass and nuts. These guys don't play around. Get low. Let me spot your hips.
Did I wanted to Chet was like, "Are you done calling me gay?"
Well, that Chet just leans into it and he goes, "Yeah, you're pretty accurate. That's pretty much what it's going to be."
I
And
don't.
so, like, he at least had fun with it. But I would be infuriated. Like, what is this? Are you guys just calling me a douchebag to my face?
Why am I here? and then of course Schaub's doing that. Yeah, bud.
Yeah,
Voice.
I don't know. I don't the improv skills of Brendan to be like, this is now a television show for some reason. And then to twice say Thursday, the Tom Myers precision he shows to twice say Thursday and then change it to Tuesday for some reason. They're already changing nights, which, as you know, is never good for a television program.
My favorite though is the guy's name's Josh Stroh. So Schaub was like, "Yeah, this Tuesday we're strowing it up."
We're strowing it up. Oh, Brendan gets excited. Oh, is that name ripe for improv?
Stroh, dude.
Stro, gang, buckle up. You got to wait to see what I do with Stro.
I'm going for a stroh down the beach, dude.
It was an exhausting improv. When I was time stamping that, I couldn't believe how long it was lasting. I was like, oh, that'll be a quick 20 seconds to make fun of, maybe 30. And it just kept going and going. It was exhausting.
Callan too. He just got like that excited face. At least he was trying.
I guess they play along with each other well. Like if that's funny to you, I get why you like these guys.
Because it's a lot of that.
You know what I mean? Like they have good chemistry if you enjoy that. Because yes, it's a lot of that.
I did enjoy going to Brendan's show. I want to just say that.
I think the nation did. I think we changed what it's like to go to a Brendan Schaub show for America.
I just wanted to say that out loud again. In case he for some reason comes across this, don't punch me in the head.
Yeah, come on, Brendan. Come on anytime. We love you.
Oh, yeah. All right, never mind. It'll be after this. I'll talk about it.
What's the next clip?
A compliment that goes over Brendan's head.
Oh, the perception on this guy is unmatched. Brendan's depth perception with questions, like his perception as far as ability to pick up questions, is as good as my actual depth perception. It is staggering to me the inability this guy has to pick up on where people are going.
Your dad doesn't do a lot of interviews. I want to know what's going on. I didn't recognize the guy for
That's
the first.
what I mean. They're
hold on. Go back to the beginning of that so we can hear it all. But that question, first of all, it's a little too nice by Brian Callen because I've heard it was the most atrocious performance of Tom Hanks's career in that Elvis movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
But Brian's being nice, and what Brian is saying, this is a compliment to an actor. He disappeared into the role. He's saying, when I watched that Elvis movie, no idea it was your dad. That's how amazing an actor he is. Like, I've watched this guy for 30 years, and when I turned this movie on, I didn't realize it was him. Very nice compliment to pay an actor. And this is what Brendan thinks of that comment.
Your dad doesn't do a lot of interviews. I want to know what's going on. I didn't recognize the guy for the first.
That's what I mean. They're
30
they're
minutes
super
of
low key,
Elvis.
under the radar.
Well,
you know?
I didn't recognize him for the first 30 minutes. I swear to God.
Retarded, right?
No,
Oh, he
come
was
on.
wearing
What did he say?
He's retarded. He called Brian retarded.
Oh, boy.
Saying, hey, Chet, can you listen to this mouth breather? He didn't know it was your dad.
Oh, boy.
And then he continues to not pick up on what Brian meant.
A fat suit, but that was very good.
Your dad could be an avatar, and I would know it's fucking Tom Hanks.
That'd be some shit.
When I look at Woody on Toy Story, I'm like, that's Tom Hanks. He puts on a fat suit. Brian's like, I'm trying to figure out, is that Tyrese? Is that Morgan Freeman?
I thought it was Megan Thee.
When I think of your dad, Chet, I think Jason Alexander.
I
think all I can think of is one role. That's how bad an actor he is.
This is Brian Callen being the best friend you could possibly have.
Brian Callen is a great friend. When you hear him, when he was on like Legion of Skanks defending Schaub and shit,
Yep.
like he's a ride or die guy.
No, I just rewound it a few seconds. Listen to this. You can hear Brian go to like play along, and even he's like, "I'm just not gonna."
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Okay.
Is that Morgan Freeman?
I thought it was Megan Thee.
All right, I'm bailing on this one.
I thought I was making that. Never mind. Fucking
Hitting the ejector button.
get me out of here.
Yeah, so it's amazing. Like Brendan just has no ability to pick up on. Like he calls his buddy retarded because he says, "Hey, Tom Hanks really loses himself in his work." Now, what
Yeah,
sucks for
It would have been
actors?
great if he was like, "Why? Because I defend you."
Yeah. Like they say, you don't cheat on your wife. Is that why I'm retarded, Brendan?
I somehow passed a lie detector test saying you were funny.
That I respect your comedy. Yeah. So, like the problem that Jason Alexander is one of the better examples. The problem he has in Hollywood is that like when you look at him, all you can see is George Costanza. So Brendan's compliment to Tom Hanks is, if he were in a cartoon, I would know it was him. This guy sticks out like a sore thumb. He can't disappear in the magical world of Avatar. I'd be like, that's Tom Hanks. Brian's paying one of the nicest compliments you could give an actor. Like, he disappeared into the role. I had no idea it was him after 30 years of fame.
He's so dumb.
It's wild. He has like no grasp on reality anymore. I don't think. Like, there are little things he does. Like, I believe the next clip where I'm like, oh, this is him trying to be self-deprecating. I think
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I believe this is Brendan trying to be self-deprecating, kind of in like a Stuttering John way, where it's like he pays himself a compliment by saying, I'm sorry, he insults himself by saying, hey, someone else paid me a compliment. Aren't they dumb? Huh? Wouldn't it be crazy that they thought this?
Someone said I was the best comic they've ever seen. How stupid are they, right?
Well, then he'd be right, but
His ass is on the
If
line.
anything,
Yeah,
it can work
exactly.
against you because, like, I always say this. Like, people say, why don't one of your big director friends hook you up? Hey, here's how it works. You write a script. It takes 2 years, 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Then you finally get financing. There's one role that was written specifically. There's
if I may again, I forgot how far off. I thought I just clipped the actual comment that he makes.
Mhm.
I forgot how far off Brendan is in this clip yet again. Where these two guys, like, whatever you think of Callan, he's been a working actor or was a working actor for a long time. I don't know what happened that stopped that.
Something happened.
I can't remember. And Chet Hanks, I've seen him in a couple things. He was in Your Honor and he was in Shameless, and he was pretty good in those. Like, I think he's a pretty good actor. So you're talking to like two working actors that know what it's like, and what they're asking Chet about here is like, people think that you're getting opportunities because of your dad. In some ways, that actually works against you because people have, their mindset on what a certain role is. When they see you, they might be like, oh, this is Tom Hanks's kid, and not think you fit the role. So that's what they're talking about. And then you'll see where Brendan takes it.
and that decision is made by committee. You walk in that room, you've got to win that group over.
Yeah.
And so I don't give a fuck who you are. You're competing with everybody in the world, everybody in Ireland, the best of the best.
That's best.
So you go in there, they have an idea. The writer, the director, the producers all have an idea. It might be a different idea, but it's the person that walks in the room and is undeniable, where they all go, fuck, he changed my mind. I thought the role was this, but it was it.
Yeah.
That's the person that gets the
There's
role.
so many moving pieces.
Yeah, but
I remember
even
when Batman was coming out, my mom called me. She didn't know Hollywood. She's like, I just don't understand why you're not the next Batman. I was like, click.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
It's a lot. And
Shut up, Mom. Mom,
God,
you're so embarrassing.
that bombed hard in the room too.
It really did. Chet was just moving on. And the greatest thing about this clip is it makes me think like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would like to hear a one-on-one interview with Brian Callen and Chet Hanks.
I would love it.
Like, it might actually be really interesting.
It might be, honestly, any podcast that he's on, if it was just the other guy and the guest, it would probably be pretty good shows.
And then Brendan comes in like an attention-seeking 5-year-old and just stomps all over it. Like someone finding bubble wrap laying on the ground. Brendan comes in and just doof, doof, doof,
This
all
show,
over the place.
this show is so fucking popular too. Like,
It's wild how popular it is. Although if you go on Reddit, you
It's
might
not.
see that people are listening with the same ear that we are.
that's true.
I think people are listening for different motives sometimes. But yeah, it's insanely popular. Whether or not we get it, they've done a tremendous job building up an audience. But it's like Brian is asking this very succinct question. Hey, Hollywood has, one idea of what you are. People think that might benefit you, but in some ways it can hold you back because they don't see you fitting the role. Their mind isn't open to it. And Brendan's interpretation of what that question is like, yeah, my mom thinks I should be Batman.
She doesn't know Hollywood.
Yeah. And then he thinks he's going to relate like, right, guys, isn't my mom dumb?
Imagine if I want him to be Batman so fucking bad now.
The trashing he does of his mother, like we've broken down clips of his stand-up and shit where he talks about his mom.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, if you're calling Brendan a bro, it's so accurate because it's literally, it's fucking, Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers. Like, just complete disrespect of this poor woman that probably did everything, probably babied him his entire life.
I like the idea of Batman as Brendan Schaub. He sees the bat symbol. He's like, I gotta go see Commissioner Gordon, Papa.
Oh, what do you think? What do you think that is, bro? What do you think they're shining that for?
Oh, for real? I'm gonna touch the Joker's hips, dude.
Joker, fucking come on, guy. What's your deal?
You need to chill out, bro.
You want to eat some pico de gallo?
Yeah. So I saw the Joker the other day, and he was like, "Hey, Mr. Wayne."
That would work in The Dark Knight, I think. There were a few Asian characters. He could have done that voice.
Not the Joker. He saw that his jacket was made in China, so he just thought he talked like that.
They think I can't fuck with the Riddler. What are they doing, guy?
That would actually be fucking great.
This is the greatest movie of all time. His mom is onto something. He's calling her a dumb bitch.
Yeah,
I think Mrs. Schaub knows what sells.
The whole thing with the Riddler, though, is it's based on Batman solving the riddles, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No, wait, hold on a second.
I
I think what he means is that Tom Hanks sticks out like a sore thumb in movies.
He thinks he solves a riddle, goes to the location he thinks, and then on the other side of town, you see a giant explosion.
Yeah. I think he means Brian's retarded. Is that what this riddle means?
Bro, I'm going to figure this out, bro.
I wish. If you think people criticized Christian Bale's Batman voice. Yeah, guy.
Do you like my Batmo whip?
What do you mean, B?
Brian Callen's
Alfred A.
Brian Callen's obviously Robin.
Rogan is just Morgan Freeman's character.
Rogan's the Riddler because they can't get through to him.
What do you mean it's a joke? Why is that funny?
Yeah, dude. Like the riddles that Rogan leaves are just protein powder recipes.
This is Mrs. Schaub knows how to put asses in the seats.
I need this to happen.
She's raised a guy that will half fill Laugh Boston, but she knows how to get people into a theater. This is a brilliant idea.
This is a great idea. Oh, fuck.
Do you want to come to my truck? Can I walk you back to the Batmobile?
You know, I got this role because I saved a kid on the highway once.
Brendan, you have two choices. Save Harvey Dent or save Annie Letterman. He's on his fucking motorcycle.
It cuts to him with Harvey Dent.
We're like, whoa, shit, he chose Harvey.
She talks shit, bro.
Kalila's the villain.
She's Catwoman.
I understand you've been making fake accounts on Reddit.
Turns out that seems to be kind of true. I'm still Team Schaub in that.
Well, he's the good guy, so it has to be true. He's the hero that we all needed.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure like people will start digging up her talking about being a sleuth on the internet.
Yeah,
and it just keeps coming. I'm like, yeah, see, he's right. Delilah sucks.
Oh boy, do I want that movie to happen.
We're gonna go into the tiger belly of the beast.
I love the idea of now instead of Rogan, Bobby Lee being the Riddler. Because he would do the accent that Schaub wants to impersonate.
Yeah, he's gonna do. No, he's gonna talk like he normally does, but he's gonna be like, "What do you get when you mix two?"
Yeah. Bobby's like, "Here, I've got a riddle for you to solve," and Brendan's like, "I can't understand this guy.
I need a translator.
I didn't plain English riddler."
I don't get what you're saying, Baba.
I had a trainer that spoke like you once. Here's a great joke about him.
It's a Family Guy flashback to it's sad.
The movie, after he saves Harvey Dent, there's a 10-minute bit about how he has a mountain lion in his backyard. Everyone's like, this is what they're closing with?
He's like, the bat. Brendan's gonna be like, yeah, I'll take the role, but only if the cup size on the bat suit is gigantic.
The amount of hours they would spend talking about how that suit makes his package look.
And by the way, don't think I don't understand that we were making fun of them riffing for a long time and then doing 5 minutes on this.
We don't have a guest sitting here waiting to finish.
and making fun of him directly to his face.
Yeah. Brendan's not sitting here like, all right, guys, are you done?
If Schaub was here, it would be like, yeah, man, you could be Batman.
Dude, I think you should be Batman, actually. Like, I think you're hotter than Christian Bale for sure.
Yeah, you got better abs.
And honestly, I think you're a better actor.
Honestly, no one's gonna get distracted by the cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
I can see ladies just falling all over you. You look good in a suit. You already act like a millionaire.
Oh, I honestly hope I never get to interview Brendan Schaub because everyone will just realize what a pussy I am. I don't get what everyone gives you shit for. I think you're really funny. If it was over Zoom, I could handle it. But if we're in the same room, you're seeing me turtle.
He'll find you though, dude. Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be getting litigation for sure. I'll be filing suit.
That blind guy in that pink fuck.
Yeah. Honestly, Brendan, I think Shane Gillis kind of stole your act, actually. That's I think you're kind of the funny bro guy, You have introspective takes that people wouldn't expect you to have.
I remember hearing Fox News Dad come out of Brendan Schaub's mouth 5 years before Shane put it
I know, yeah. Brendan was the first, and then, but here's how magnanimous Brendan is. He's like, you know what? He can just have it. I'll write the material. It's fine.
Yeah, I threw that shit out. Yeah.
So I was done with it anyways. No big deal. Like Louis with Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
We have another Schaub clip, by the way.
We got like 3 more, dude.
Oh, we do? Really?
Let me check. We have, which one is this?
We have
2
more. We have 2 more. What's the next one?
Mob Boss.
Oh, this is so Hank, I mentioned Chet Hanks was in the show Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, which I thought was a really good show. And I thought he was really good in it. And he's talking about auditioning for the role of the mob boss's son, which he did not get ultimately. He explains that in this clip. But he auditioned for it. They brought him into the room and watched him read for this part, which would be odd if Brendan's question made any sense.
If you might play, like, for example, like with Your Honor, right? I had a recurring role in Your Honor with Bryan Cranston on Showtime. And the role I auditioned for was the role.
I like how he says that, like, just so you know, Brendan, don't cut me off. I'm talking here.
It's an important show. Please let me finish. Walter White, does that settle you down for a minute? I'm talking about a famous guy.
Yes, the guy that threw the pizza on the roof.
Yeah.
Boss's son, who like just gets out of prison. He's kind of like the villain,
the outlaw.
That's
no, Brendan, stop!
And I fucking
stop saying outlaw.
Dude, he just plows over it. Listen to this. He goes outlaw.
He wants so badly Chet Hanks to walk out of here and be like, "Hey, Brendan, before I go, you got a merch guy? I'm thinking of making outlaw t-shirts."
He wants so bad for him not to be a top 10 UFC fighter so we can fuck him up, I think.
that's the role I auditioned for, and I fucking crushed it. And they were like, half of the people wanted me to play that role, but at the end of the day, I didn't get it because I just don't.
Hold on one second. I want you to keep in mind, because I can't impress upon you enough how absurd this question is. Half the people wanted Chet to have this role. The room was divided. They said, I think Chet is perfect for this part. Others said, I'm not sure I see it. So just keep that in mind when Brendan poses his question.
I didn't get it because I just don't look like the actor who plays the father, Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yeah,
I just don't look like I could be related to
was he
him.
Right.
black?
No, he just has brown eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm like blue.
Is he black?
I just love thinking of a room of like the director and the producers and the head writer sitting like, I just can't put my finger on it, but why don't we want him to play Don Cheadle's son? I can't figure it out. There's something about this guy that just doesn't fit that role.
What's up, player? I'm the head of the Gambino family.
He talks like him. Does that count?
Yeah, this was a phone interview at first. That's why I got it.
Was he black? Brendan, why would they make him audition for that role? Also, the mob didn't tip you off to what race the guy might be?
Yeah, a WAP. Oh boy.
Michael K. Williams replacing Tony Soprano.
the Wire and the Sopranos switch casts out.
Was never explained.
Yeah.
No, he was next in line.
This last one is called Dad Gets It.
Yeah, I think his father, where his mom was a little more, I didn't quite understand Brendan's standing in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
She evidently knows that he does stand-up comedy and fought in the UFC and said, why don't they have you play Batman? Which, first of all, I'm sure is a question that happened, but a very astute one at that.
No, he was just trying to get the idea out there.
Yeah, I think his father has a little more perspective on what Brendan's career turned out to be.
So what I do, he told somebody, my brother's with him at lunch the other day, and someone was like, "Hey, your son moved to Hollywood, right? It's going well for him." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "What's he doing?" I goes, "I think he's like an Instagram influencer." My brother's like, "Jesus Christ!" When I shot my first special for Showtime, big deal. My dad didn't come. 2 days later, he flies out here. We're walking with my grandkids, with his grandkids, and we're walking down the mall. And he goes, "I forgot to ask, how'd your speech go the other night?"
That's what the audience asked too.
Everyone gets drugged on the way into one of his
This
shows.
is an interesting speech.
It's a great speech. Yeah.
His take on Asian American relations was a little odd, but
Oh man. I just want to like write a script about Brendan Schaub being Batman now.
I do like the idea of the dad just like, I can't endure this.
What if we went to the creators of like Scary Movie and said Batman, but Brendan Schaub has to be Batman?
Right. Like they did that superhero movie with, I think it was like Drake Bell was the star, which that's not happening now. That's a little problematic. So we're going to need a new hero.
Well, if they did Batman with Brendan Schaub and it was just the whole premise of the movie was he couldn't solve the riddles puzzles. It's so funny.
Here's the problem. That would be the greatest comedy of all time if Brendan understood why it was funny.
If they gave him enough money, he would do it.
I don't think he would. Because put it this way. I don't think he would get, the problem is to act in that role. Like if you were just filming Brendan trying to act as Batman, then it's funny.
Right.
But if you make it a comedy, I don't know if Brendan could pull that off because he would need to be the hero. He'd be like, I don't get why does my character not solve this?
No, it would be so funny. It would be so funny. So they film a take, I don't know, like 12, 13 times when the riddle is like literally like 3 + 1.
Yeah.
So he's like nailing it. And then put the real thing you want in. That's just like, that's like everyone gets it except for him. And he's having trouble with it and be like, that's just for the outtakes.
Yeah. Give it to us this way, just so we have it. You know, just so we have, we're probably not going to use it just so we have it.
Don't give him the heads up though. Let him solve it. Like that's the movie, is him solving riddles
Gee, I mean, like
and letting Annie Letterman die.
the mob boss black? And there's just that dramatic Batman music.
he goes up to every black guy. He's like, "You in the mob?"
Yeah, that's great. Brendan as Batman takes down an innocent black man.
Because he thinks he's in the Italian mob.
Because he didn't understand.
Yeah, and you know when people like when you're like not sure if you see someone you know in public, you'll like say their name.
Yeah.
You'll be like Ben, and see if they look or something.
Yeah.
He was just sitting there like in his bat suit, and a black guy walks by. He's like, Tony Soprano. If the guy looks, he beats the shit out of him.
Hey, Giuseppe.
Yeah, he just goes, Omerta.
Does that mean anything to you?
Hmm?
Like Seinfeld at Tim Watley's party? Are you a dentist? Are you a dentist? Oh boy, it's gonna be hard to go into rape after this.
Well, we still have plenty we could hold off. We got OJ and Segura still also.
Okay. Yeah. You're not pressed for time or anything?
No.
All right. Let's play let's cleanse the palate with a little juice. Because I think I didn't even realize what I did there. I'm as dumb as Brenton. So OJ was on with the Nelk Boys. Am I saying that correctly?
Yep.
The creators of Happy Dads, which, by the way, are a refreshing beverage if you're looking for a good seltzer. I actually do enjoy them. But podcasters, they are not great necessarily, or at least interviewers. This is the only episode I've listened to. But they had the juice on. And they got a lot of press because they asked OJ about the murders.
This is also the people that interviewed Trump, and it got like smoked. Like they just got deleted everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I think isn't this what's his face? Bob Menner used to be on this.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know this world well enough. I'm not sure.
Mm.
But I think you might be right. Yeah. But yeah, they had OJ on, and the clips that went viral were them at the very end. They asked him about the murders, and OJ, like a very innocent person, says, "We're not talking about that." Okay?
I plead the fifth. I mean,
okay. Yeah, so he seems very innocent, and those clips are pretty funny. But there were things that I found funnier in them, like OJ just talking about his time in prison. So we just have a couple clips to kind of give you a feel for. And by the way, the first hour and a half of this, OJ is laughing it up. He's loving it. Oh, are these guys? Is he having fun with the boys? Until they asked him about the murders when he got out of there pretty quickly. Credit to these guys for asking, because I guess they stressed like absolutely do not ask this. And good for them, they did. They're not the best equipped to handle it, but also like the best equipped to handle it aren't getting OJ,
Mm.
So like Mark Maron, I don't think is getting OJ Simpson,
No.
So but they had some fun in the first hour and a half. So let's hear a little bit of that.
What was it like?
It was, prison is different than jail.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry.
It's horrible.
Let me just set it up a little bit. So as you can hear there, he's talking about his time in jail, and the media reports it one way. We did not realize what a peacemaker OJ was in the big house. So that's what he's going to tell us about.
If you ask me, right? In the prison I was at, it was called Lovelock. It was a couple of unusual things. One, it was probably more whites than there were blacks and Hispanics combined. It was unusual in that probably 70% of the people there were there for some kind of sex crime. So I don't know what that says about you guys.
Oh, you guys are pedophiles.
But guys will all come up and they juice, because most of the guys felt I shouldn't have been there. And they felt they would have punched the guys or done something with the guys. But I would tell them, look, man, I'm just going to do my time. I'm here to do my time. And I'm not asking you why you're here. I don't want to talk about why I'm here. I just want to do my time and go home. It was for me because early on, a couple of things that happened where I ended up had to mediate some stuff.
Going on with like other people and.
Well, in prison you got Serenials, you got Nartanials,
Bowie knife or katana.
You got 88, you got A-dubs.
Yeah, what is this,
got
like gangs?
Gangs, yeah. A-dubs is Aryan Warriors, the dub.
So the Aryan Brotherhood and whatever fucking gang that, the Latin Kings are going at it. And OJ gets in the middle and says, boys, boys, boys. Can we not settle this with our words?
Not today, fellas.
I love OJ mediation in prison. Guys, put your fists down. There's a simpler way to solve this.
Yeah, Bob Menery did leave this show. He's not on it anymore.
What a shame. Maybe could have asked a few succinct questions.
Possibly. I'm surprised that I thought he was like the reason it was anything to begin with.
But this is something I enjoyed as well. As much as I love the image of OJ mediating gang violence in prison, stepping in and saying, "Hey, violence is not the answer, fellas."
Yeah, okay, OJ.
by the way, you could really tell OJ learned his lesson because they're asking him about prison, and he's like, "I never should have been in there. All I did was take my stuff back. I never threatened anybody." There's a video of him pulling a gun on a guy in a hotel room.
That's like my favorite from me doing stand-up. When he's like, yeah, people talking about OJ being innocent, and he takes his stuff back and gets 6 continuous life sentences.
Which it's a funny bit, but it's also like he did pull a gun on someone and threaten them. Like he was, there were kidnapping charges for a reason, but
yeah, that part gets often swept under the rug.
OJ's like, what possible issue could you have with me taking my stuff back? It's like, well, mostly the illegal firearm that was drawn.
It was probably like put up for auction by somebody else.
So yeah, he this is an equally fun image to him separating the gangs and talking some sense into them. I thought this image was just as enjoyable.
7 games.
How's like serious was this taken? Like very, very serious. Sounds like
I'm sorry. They're talking about OJ coached a softball league. So I mean, speaking of movies, if we're writing scripts, there's an amazing longest yard version of this to be made with OJ coaching the prisoners to greatness.
Well,
baseball league.
Yeah. Well, the basketball too, and soccer, but this is softball. And I talk to my guys and say, come on, man, we're gonna play this game. And in the 7th inning of the 7th game, we won the game. And
by the way, how many people like in his camp are off camera surrounding this? Like, this is going pretty fucking good.
Well, that's the funny thing is like at the end, these guys are kind of patting themselves on the back for asking about the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid goes, I was sitting next to him, but I was willing to get stabbed or shot for this question. And I was like, yeah, OJ's going to do that on camera.
Yeah.
The guy got away with 2 murders. He knows what he's doing.
And you would see this group of, hey, let's face it, murderers, rapists, robbers, running to the mound, jumping up and down like literally 12-year-olds. These guys were so happy. And it was an interesting day because the jail system knew it. They brought the guys over from what they call high intensity, the protected guys. They brought that yard over and they stood at attention. So the entire prison was watching this game.
This is kind of crazy.
So, I just love the longest yard image where the Juice is getting carried out by, as he put it, murderers and rapists.
Those are my people.
OJ's like, it was just great to see them have a day, you know? Finally, stop focusing on the murdering and raping that they did for a few moments. Just enjoy the weather and play a little ball. So yeah, I recommend that. Not like it wasn't a good interview, but I recommend it if you just like studying someone like OJ. It's fascinating to hear him just kind of have a casual conversation about football. Like, here's an example of how good the interviewing skills were on these guys. After that, like he says, he won the championship for his softball league.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And one of the kids asks, "Would you say that was better than winning the Rose Bowl?" And OJ goes, "No."
Are you more proud of this than the Heisman? No.
It was hilarious because a guy like OJ, you almost expect to be like, you know, it really rivaled that for me. Like, just play up his, but he was like, no, obviously not.
Shut up.
All right. Should we go to Segura before we do this delete stuff?
Sure.
All right. This is real quick. I just wanted to talk about this because I think it's funny. We saw Tom Segura with Quentin Tarantino. And now I'm wondering if Tom is a guy we should kind of keep an eye on, because I've seen his Reddit starting to turn on him a little bit.
I'm starting to not like what I'm seeing.
Have you listened to this clip yet?
I saw it before you sent it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which one? The one with Christina or Bert?
Well, yeah, we'll get to both of them. It seems like unless he's playing a character here or something,
Which is not out of the realm of possibility.
completely. So maybe we're the idiots and we're not getting it. I'm fully aware of that. But
Very possible.
But it seems like he's losing touch with his audience pretty rapidly. And it also seems like he's creating a straw man argument to combat these complaints. Like, people are saying, hey, boy, Tom's really losing touch. The complaint that I've seen is, and again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are reaching out to Tom and saying shit that I'm not aware of. But what I've seen on the internet is basically like, but Tom and Bert just talk about like these expensive watches that they buy and like fucking race cars that they're like, I just have no interest in it. Like, they're just flaunting their money and it's not interesting to me. That's the main complaint that I've seen. Now, I don't even necessarily agree with that. Like, so I think rich guy stories can be very interesting, you know? And I think, like, I'm not necessarily a diehard fan of either one of these guys, but like, I followed Tom for a long time and it's kind of cool to see him be successful now. So I don't even necessarily agree with that take, but I understand where it comes from. It seems like Tom doesn't understand where that comes from, and he has created a complete straw man argument here.
Tom was one of my favorites for a while.
I thought he was going to be the next Louis, kind of like he had that vibe to me. And as far as like popularity, he's not that far off, but just as like strictly comedy, he's not really going. His focus seems to be elsewhere, and I think that's what the complaint is, kind of.
Is this the one with Bert that you wanted?
Yeah.
I couldn't. I don't have them labeled.
Oh, can I just say this real quick?
Yeah.
Every time we talk about like a watch or a car, I'll get this like a bunch of messages from losers that try to tell me that I'm making them feel bad about their situation. You're in control of your own situation and your own feelings. So don't put it on me that you feel bad that I have something that...
So again, hold on. Maybe he's playing a character, but doesn't he sound so angry here?
Yeah, up until right there when he stops and looks at the camera, which is his new thing.
Yeah.
I thought
let me break the fourth wall for a second.
Yeah, no, like when he's like a bunch of losers, I was still like he's joking, but when he gets serious and stern and looks at the camera,
he sounds real angry here. Like you know, when his kids are old enough, this is how they're going to get a talking to when they sneak beers into the basement or something.
Right.
I'm struggling with rent this month. Figure it the fuck out, okay? Like, don't make my life be a problem for your life. If you don't like it, guess what? You're not going to be able to control what people talk about. People are going to talk about things that you don't have for the rest of your fucking life. So you can decide like, okay, I won't, fine. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to that person anymore. But you have to control your own feelings. Okay. It's not on other people to make sure they
I'm
don't.
getting very Stern vibes, meaning Howard Stern, when he started to resent his audience.
Yep.
That's what I'm feeling here. And again, the joke could just be sailing over my head. But if he's being real here, then he A, isn't connecting with his audience, and B, resents them greatly. Because the, quote unquote losers that he's talking about is the vast majority of his audience. If you go to an arena, it's not a highfalutin place when it's Tom Segura night there. You know what I mean? Like, it's mostly guys that look like Bert and Tom, but don't have the means that they do,
Right.
So this scolding that he's also, people aren't saying, hey, again, the people that I've seen are not saying you shouldn't be allowed to talk about your wealth and success. What they're saying is when you and Bert go off on a watch that you paid 30 grand for 20 minutes, I personally do not give a fuck. And I am your listener. I'm consuming your product. I don't care about this topic. It's not interesting to me.
They're called fucking losers, Mike.
They're evidently losers. Yeah. If you don't care about the watch a guy is wearing. Let me text Dave Portnoy, ask how the watch business is going.
Doesn't seem to be going great. This is the second clip.
Oh, okay.
So wait, there are people in this world that when they see fancy things on screen,
they feel terrible. Yeah, of course.
Pause for a second. I do love Bert is not losing touch with his audience.
Not
he has
at
a
all.
childlike wonderment. Wait, so there are people
that will
you
never
mean to tell me?
Yeah, that will never happen with Bert, I don't think.
It doesn't seem like it, no. Because the difference I think is Bert was always a guy who wanted to be famous and wanted to be, for lack of a better term, an attention whore,
Right, and liked.
Yeah, he wanted all those things. Whereas I think it seems like kind of Tom seems like an introvert. So flaunting all this stuff seems like almost outside of his comfort zone, which I think people pick up on. Like, it doesn't seem natural that Tom is flaunting all this shit, and he's resentful of the people that are picking up on that.
About a nice car. I don't have a nice car, and I'm struggling right now. It's like, all right, you think people should stop talking about cars?
Yeah.
One more thing I got to tell to people who are like, because I was thinking.
I think, Tom, I think what people are saying is when you never talked about cars when you were poor or didn't have a lot of money, you did not build up an audience that is interested in cars.
Right.
You didn't build up an audience that has any fucking interest in you souping up your expensive vehicles. No one gives a fuck. Whereas Rogan did. Rogan would talk about that stuff forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you built up an audience by playing videos of mentally ill homeless people and making fun of them. So now when you're like, I paid 30 grand for this watch, people are like, who cares? Get back to the funny, get back to the silly stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going through something.
Doesn't it seem like that? It's weird.
Or is this a giant troll and we're just eating it?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, that's what has me hesitant about this. Is he is the type of guy. So I'll tell you why I don't think it is. Well, let's play this clip and then I'll tell you why I don't think it is.
Like,
I love this part of you. Love this part of you.
I was the same way that you were when I was broke. I never got mad at somebody who was like, here's my 911 or here's my Rolex, whatever. I mean, I'd watch those. I'd be like, that's awesome. I hope I can get that.
Yeah, but did you go out of your way to listen to it?
Yeah.
That's what people are talking about, Tom.
Right.
Did you seek out podcasts that specifically talked about that a lot? That's what people are criticizing for. And again, I don't listen to this show every week. Like, I like these guys when I hear them, but I don't listen all the time.
I used to, but once they started like not being together every week, I fell off.
Yeah, and that's the other complaint I see a lot. But yeah, I think it's more a relatable thing. People are like, "Hey, we just don't give a fuck. Go for it. Have a fucking mansion in Austin. Have all the toys you want, jet skis and all the cool shit. That's great. Good for you. But we just don't care about it. We're not interested in listening to it,
Right.
Like, I'm sure Tom wouldn't resent Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk going over their riches, But would he subscribe to a podcast with those two? Probably not.
Probably not.
So this is him on Your Mom's House. And the reason I said I don't think it's a bit.
Oh, you want me to play the next clip?
Or you know what? Now that I'm even thinking about even now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it is a bit based on this conversation he has with Christina. Because one thing he does say is that I'm conflicted on what I'm about to say, basically. But one thing he says to Christina is like that he used to tweet stuff purposely like offensive, or that he knew would get, outrage of some kind on Twitter. And he phrased it as like shaking out the weak, which I think is like kind of a smart thing to do. Like, filtering the people that aren't that are going to be offended by something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense. He says that's what he did with this Two Bears rant. He says he's shaking out the weak. But my argument to that would be like, you're misunderstanding what they're saying. These aren't people that are outraged. These are people that have consumed your product forever and saying, we're not relating to it anymore.
I was bothered because I don't like hearing the excuses. What it extends to also, it reminds me of, to me, this has a direct correlation also with health and fitness.
Yes.
Because what happens is, again, my whole life, people around me, it's very easy to go like, I want to work out. And then you go, yeah, but
there's a but.
There's always a but. I'm tired, or this is, I don't feel like it today. Like there's always an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Then I found that the latest thing, was unexpected. So people always have excuses for why they can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, I got things to do. I can't, this is why I can't eat healthy. This is why I can't work out. So I started to take fitness more seriously, I'd say in the last year, And so some people notice and they go, congratulations, or that's great, keep going. Like they positive. And then you always find some people who go, must be nice. And
Right.
you're like, what must be nice? And they're like, must be nice that you can afford to, go to the gym. And like, I'm like, wait. So
right.
Is your position that only people with money are into fitness and take care of themselves? Because I can point you towards 100 more people I know that don't have money that take their health and fitness very seriously.
What about guys in prison? Some of them look real fit.
Yeah.
Those guys don't have trainers.
And guess what?
Christina trying to save some humor.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say here.
Yeah, that's what the whole point of this is. Get arrested and go to prison and lose weight.
Christina doing everything she can to keep it funny. But that seemed like a weird angle that came out of nowhere. It's like now it's a fitness thing. And now because you're in good shape, you're going to lecture people on it. And also, yeah, those people are dicks. The must be nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are assholes. Or they're just annoying not even assholes, but like annoying to be around. But again, who are you talking about? Because that's not what anyone's doing to you. No one's saying must be nice, Tom. Pretty much everyone on a very successful podcast like that has more money than their audience.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Shane Gillis has a shit ton more money than everyone that subscribes, for the most part, to their Patreon. But you wouldn't necessarily know that. You know what I mean? He's not
like 98% probably.
Yeah. But you wouldn't know that by listening, because he's not like, oh my God. And even like he'll talk about shit getting more successful. He talks about going out with Rogan and that Kanye's texting him shit like that. No one has a problem with that.
But he also talks about how he still loves his Chevy Cruze.
Well, but not even that. I'm not even saying you have to be relatable in that way. What I'm saying is when he brings up Kanye or Joe Rogan, that's of interest to the listener.
Right.
Whereas saying like, guys, the amount that I spent on this watch would have your accountant's head spinning.
I started getting like not weirded out, but I was like, all right, dude. Like they would start.
It's uncomfortable how angry he is.
Yeah, but like Bert and Tom would start either buying gifts or doing pranks on each other and spending so much money.
Yeah, and that's weird too, where it's like you're purposely wasting money on a thing that like you're doing it for the audience, but I don't think the audience cares about this. Like, oh, Tom spent $100,000 that apparently he has on a birthday gift.
Yeah, right.
So why am I buying the fucking live show that they're half-assing,
Yeah, and he just
that's the complaint that I saw is like YMH just did a live stream that you have to pay for, and people felt like they half-assed it, which I didn't watch it. I have no idea, but that's what people are complaining about more than how successful you are.
And Tom, I think he just challenged some random weatherman to a game of one-on-one.
That was kind of funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like see, like that's where he still has his humor left, you know?
No. It was wicked funny. And then he goes, I'll donate 50 grand. And I was like, oh
yeah, like that's funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the ability to that's like shit that like,
Well,
Portnoy does. You know?
The funny part was him saying, if I win, you have to film a video that I approve of and post it.
Yeah. So I don't know, but like based on that stuff, maybe he's not losing touch. But it's something. The main reason I wanted to play it is because keep an eye on it, because there's a chance if we're interpreting this right, there may be a break coming soon. So just keep an eye out.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope I'm just eating the trash.
Exactly. Yeah. Ideally, we're being fooled on this one, but who knows?
It'd be nice.
All right. Now, Chris D'Elia time.
Yeah, we're at hour 25.
Always good to close with sexual assault allegations. So I admitted on this program very early on in its infancy, back in February of 2021. Do you remember? I was a guy who used to defend Chris D'Elia and say, it doesn't seem like there's anything here with some of these allegations. And then I changed my tune when he came out with that awful apology where he's like, you know what, America? It was like Kevin Spacey. He came out and said, you know what, gang, you got me? I've been cheating on my girlfriends. Well, people were calling you a pedophile, Chris. I'm not sure you're grasping what the issue was here. And when I listened to that horseshit apology, am I hyping this up too much, or do you remember me saying this as well?
We did a couple shows on this.
I said something ugly is going to come out about this guy.
Right. We were talking about him and Callan.
I said that I was wrong, and some shit is going to come out about him. He's definitely guilty.
Yep.
Because this apology was too weird to be from an innocent man. There's something weird going on with Chris D'Elia. So since then, Kyle Anderson, who's an unknown comedian, I think he does work at the Comedy Store, but he's not someone you would know. He said he has less than 500 Twitter followers. So he's not a name of any kind, but he made a great documentary. Now, here's the problem with any documentary is that I could watch this and have one opinion. And then the issue comes in 3 months when someone makes a documentary on YouTube disputing this and has the opposite take. And then I'm like, boy, that seems really convincing. Chris D'Elia is innocent, you know?
Right.
So that's the tough thing about these, but he has some testimonials that are pretty damning.
He has testimonials and phone conversations.
Yeah, that are pretty damning. And again, you know, maybe there's a context to them that we aren't aware of, but based on Chris's behavior, I'm inclined to believe a lot of what's in this documentary. The guy's kind of funny. He even goes as far as like to dare Chris to sue him. So, like, it's interesting. And they have not only girls come out with accusations, they have interviews over the phone with them and things, but they also have his former tour manager come out, who was good friends with Chris D'Elia for a long time and left because he kind of had an idea. Eventually, he realized what was going on with Chris and that it was worse than he knew about.
Did he leave before it happened?
He left when he realized it. He was. It seemed like he had a similar thought process that I would, where it's like, at first he was like, there's nothing, there doesn't seem to be anything here. And then he claimed eventually it got up to 500 allegations. I guess 500 girls came out.
Holy fuck.
And, you know, the way he kind of broke down the math was, hey, let's say 100 of them are lying, which is a big number. That's 20% of them are lying. That's 400 girls that all have the same story.
Right.
You know? So that was the most eye-opening thing, but we'll play it here. If you like what we're talking about today, I highly recommend you go. It's only an hour. It was very succinct. He got a lot of information out in a 59-minute documentary called The Chris D'Elia Problem for free on YouTube. So go check it out. But we'll play a few clips here just to kind of break it down so you get a feel for what we're talking about.
Going to his room.
What was this one? Sorry, I just want to set him up. So what did I title this? Oh, this is just, well, this basically sets everything up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one's called The Crystalia Problem.
Yeah. So you'll hear one of Chris's victims, allegedly.
Ended up going to his room, talked for a little bit, and then made out for a little bit. And all that was well and good, but it's like something in his eyes changed, and he yelled at me to get on the floor. And I was like, what? I was just very confused because it was kind of a 180. And he was like, get on your knees. And I was like, can we just stay on the bed? And he's like, no, get on your knees. And then he snapped and pointed at the floor.
This continued and escalated in intensity every time she told him no.
The first time he said to get on my knees, I was like, oh, so he's like a dom. I'm just going to politely decline. I was like, no, can we just stay up here? And he's like, get on your knees. And at first I was like, I guess I was just kind of, I mean, this guy's a celebrity. Like, surely I felt a lot of comfort in thinking that this guy is a celebrity in the Me Too era. Why is he going to want to risk this?
But each time she declined, he got more and more erratic and aggressive and intense until she was literally afraid for her life.
Yeah, well, definitely my heart was pounding. You know, one of those big adrenaline rushes. It looked like I had really, really upset him by saying no. Something about his eyes. He looked evil. I'm not even trying to sound hyperbolic, but he looked deranged at that point. I just grabbed my hoodie and ran out of there. So I just was thankful to get out of there. Despite that, a few weeks later, he messaged me on Snapchat again, asking me to meet him again. So I don't think he even remembered which one I was.
So this, to me, completely changed the argument around what Chris D'Elia even did. Because originally, you may remember, it was basically a discussion about age of consent. Like, the allegations that first came out were kind of like, well, he was fucking 18 and 19-year-olds and always made sure they were the right age. So, like, is it really that bad? That was the original argument that came out, and it resulted in a very funny Francis Ellis song, you may remember, about age of consent in different states.
Yeah, I will also say, though, he was doing that whole shit. It sounded like she just left and he didn't stop her, though. You know what I mean?
Well, there's more allegations.
I know. I'm saying this particular one.
Sure, but what I'm saying is, this, to me, when I heard this story, changed the argument, because now it's not a matter of, oh, we had consensual sex when I was 18. There's an anger and control issue here,
right?
That that wasn't really made, clear to people before, I don't think. The other thing I took away from that clip, does the documentarian sound like Matt from Rhode Island, or am I crazy?
I'll have to hear him in the next one.
I think that's what he's been doing this whole time.
That'd be great.
All right, so what's the next clip we got?
Blackmail.
Yeah, so this is where it really starts to take a turn. Now, Craig, like a good Blind Mike Project member, automatically took the defense of the man here. But
well, I know what's coming, so I know I'm not defending all of it.
As the clips go on, we'll start to see Chris D'Elia, pretty bad and manipulative dude.
A lot of the girls had his name tattooed on them.
Weird.
And I didn't quite understand why until they started talking more about their arrangement with Chris. And apparently he would get girls into this arrangement where they weren't allowed to say no to him. How he would accomplish that was with some form of blackmail, whether that be emotional blackmail, like, I'm going to kill myself if you don't do XYZ, or, I'm going to release your nudes if you don't do XYZ.
Which is literally a sex crime, by the way.
Yes.
Releasing or I think even threatening to release them. So yeah, he is obviously manipulating these girls and trying to kind of take control of them. The other interesting thing is, much like Bill Cosby, and by the way, the tour manager compares him to Bill Cosby. He says, genuinely, I think this Chris's issue is as big a problem as what was going on with Bill Cosby.
Right.
So to compare it to Cosby, you know the Spanish Fly bit that went around where in the show he's like, you give it to the girls, they get all huggy buggy.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. This guy played a bunch of clips, like a lot of clips, where Chris D'Elia says, I'm trying to start a sex cult. And where he's talking about other people starting sex cults and saying, actually, that's pretty cool. Which, you know, just given the course of a podcast, you're like, oh, he's joking, obviously. But then with this element added in, you're like, oh boy. maybe he's not joking so much.
Jesus.
Yeah. Also, like, I think the smoking gun with Chris D'Elia has always been that amazing clip. You couldn't script it. The writers of Succession or The Sopranos couldn't script this human interaction as well as when Chris D'Elia dropped his jaw when he found out that you can screen record Snapchats.
How many times do you not see people like it says whoever took a picture or whoever screen recorded, like it tells you. And he's so fucking dumb.
Well, so that's an interesting thing too, is like an argument for Chris was like, oh, these girls started deleting their messages and shit like that. And I think some of that is addressed in the next clip, right?
This is the damning one to me. This is one about deleting.
Yeah. So it's very damning because part of my, defense at the time early on was like, they made these allegations and then deleted their shit 2 days later. Well, we get a little perspective on what might have happened here.
Yeah, I lied to you and shit. I feel like it's more than just lies. Like, that was fucked. Like, you knew what was going on mentally, like, and so many of the things, like, you manufactured yourself, like the situation with, like, I don't get it, because so many times I asked you, like, don't you just want this to be peaceful? Like, don't you just want things to be okay? And you made the situation what it was, and you knew how fucked up both of us were from it. I don't know what to say. I hate that it happened that way. I don't give a fuck. I'm just... It's nice to hear from you.
If you can't hear him, it's classic manipulation tactics. He's like trying to sympathize with her and also saying like, it's nice to hear your voice and that type of shit.
Yeah. If you're watching along, the subtitles are on the screen.
Okay. YouTube, folks.
I just don't know what to do from here. Like, well, we can keep talking if you want. And if you don't mind, deleting that stuff would definitely help me. If people are sending me death threats and shit. I want you to understand that, like, I don't want to delete everything.
No, pause for a second. So, and go back just a little bit. But that was on the forefront of his mind. And that's the reason he made this phone call, was to ask her to delete shit that she posted. She went on like kind of a rant on Twitter exposing Chris. And this is, by the way, as we'll find out, I think, like this calendar year. This was not that long ago. This was long after the apology. And Chris called her, and he's playing the sympathetic guy, like, jeez, I'm just sorry I put. And by the way, would you mind deleting those? Could you, if I could? Yeah, geez, I'm just thinking of this. Could you? Boy, it's so silly. It's amazing this even crossed my mind. But would you mind deleting those tweets that make me look guilty?
Can you get rid of those?
It's so funny. Something you just said, I never would have thought of this in a million years, but something you just said made me remember that it would be really awesome if you deleted the tweets that make me look like I raped you.
Yeah.
Talking if you can. And if you don't mind, deleting that stuff would definitely
if you don't mind.
Me if people are sending me death threats and shit. I want you to understand that, like, I don't want to delete everything because it's so infuriating to have people tell you that something you experienced, something you went through didn't happen. And having that conversation with Kristen.
Wait. What? For
This is important.
You don't know, Kristen.
Pause. A couple important things. First and foremost, he does sound a little like Matt from Rhode Island, no?
Kind of does a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right? Yeah. I think it's him. Anyway, more importantly, he's about to explain what that meant when she said Kristen.
Wait. What? For those of you who don't know, Kristen is Chris's wife. You're telling me Jasmine's had a conversation with Kristen where she explained the sex cult, the cheating, the underage girls, all of it, and yet Kristen is ignoring it? Allegedly. Don't sue me, you cowards.
So he's making these girls have conversations with his wife. Like, he's getting caught, and then he's making these girls have conversations with his wife, saying, like, basically that he didn't do anything. And I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil it. What's the next clip?
The apology video.
Yeah. So this is the most damning thing to me, and where I was wrong about a lot of this, I was spot on about this fucking apology. I was like, there is something weird there. It's bizarre that he came out and apologized in this manner. So keep an eye on him, because he's gonna fuck up eventually.
He definitely, and it's funny too, because he's walking around like fucking got away with it.
Yeah. And literally, that's the arrogance that he has, because listen to what was going on in his life around the time of that apology video that he made like a year and a half ago.
So when he put out the apology video, I was so genuinely confused by it, because prior to that, everything was back to normal. He was being his regular self, and I wrote him about it. He told me point blank, I don't want anything to change. So we were dating as normal, the way that things had been going since the start.
Just a second. Hold on one second. So just to be clear, we were dating. He says, I don't want anything to change. The whole video didn't address the underage stuff or the grooming stuff. What he said was, I've really been working on myself. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for cheating on my girlfriend, now wife. Meanwhile, she refers to it as dating. Like, they were dating this entire time. So literally, while making that apology video, he had at least one side piece.
March of 2020 to April of 2022, nothing ever changed. Even when he posted the apology video, I remember watching it and being so lost, because I thought at the time, does this mean he is ending things with all his girlfriends? And I wrote him about it, and I asked him, like, is this enabling to you? Do you want it to be the kind of thing where we back off and, this is where it ends? And he told me point blank, I don't want anything to change. And then when he posted shortly after a photo on Instagram with the caption that read, being faithful rips, he was texting his other girls as he posted that. As a regular consumer, as somebody just looking at his post, I would have believed, okay, this is a man who's changed, and he's just kind of trying to use humor to make light of his errors, but it completely was just bullshit.
Being faithful rips.
But remember, I forget if we specifically talked about it, but I remember that time a lot of people were like, it's bizarre. Why is he posting videos of his kid on TikTok? This is so weird. Because he wasn't like fully back yet. Just out of nowhere, he started posting videos of him and his kid, his newborn, on TikTok. And now it seems so, like, to those girls, I'm sure it was obvious. It's like, oh, he's trying to fool everyone into thinking he's like a wholesome family man now. You know what I mean? Like, what a bizarre, scary guy. The fact, like, the dichotomy of his personality is genuinely, like, frightening that a human can behave like that.
And the last few years have not been good to him. He looks like fucking shit now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this last clip, I would say, is the probably most damning thing of this documentary, The Crystalia Problem on YouTube. It's his tour manager. And to Craig's point earlier, he was like, Craig was like, did he leave right away? Like, is this a guy just going out for, kind of fame or attention or whatever? To give you a little background on this guy, he worked with Chris, was good friends with him. He was his tour manager. He has since left the business entirely. He has no interest in like making a name for himself here. To me, maybe I'm reading the guy wrong, but he genuinely seemed like a guy who just wanted, like, realized what happened right under his nose and just wants the truth out there, which is why he cooperated in this documentary.
I wonder too if like his wife's like part of their relationship was she knows about this.
I wonder that as well, because it's like, at a certain point you'd have to be like, I mean, all the time. Oh, you want to hear something hilarious?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to it yet, but do you know what? Thank God I didn't listen to it. Imagine if I had 10 more clips for today.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to it yet. So I assume it was a pre-record. But would you care to guess who Chris D'Elia's guest was on his podcast after this documentary dropped?
I have no idea.
Mrs. D'Elia.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I assume that's going to be a fun one to comb through. Maybe we can get to that next week if it's worth it. But
yeah, you can't get guests anymore. It's weird.
Yeah. So, and by the way, anyone, and I'm probably included in this, who was like, "Hey, Whitney Cummings, what the fuck? You just abandoned your friend like that without talking to him?"
We're sorry.
Whitney, I apologize. Well, the only thing I can blame you for now is not running faster away from this guy. You had a light jog going away. Now you should have been sprinting from this fucking maniac. Yeah, so let's hear his tour manager talk about it.
The reporter's email laid out the details of Chris sexually assaulting a girl after a show in Boston.
The victim wanted to remain anonymous, right? I knew exactly who the girl was. I remember that whole night vividly.
As Zach looked over the email, all the details and actions in her story lined up.
And the whole story was in that email. Then when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God. This happened. There were no doubts in my mind that something took place in that room that night, his room that night. And then that was my moment, and I was like, you're a fucking monster.
Zach responded to the reporter with all the proof he could to corroborate the girl's story.
I responded in full detail, screenshots I had, all that shit.
When Chris found out that Zach had told the truth to a reporter, he became furious.
I gotta send you that audio message.
You made this way worse. This is now a story. It was nothing, and now it's a story. If they weren't going to publish anything, now they are.
Let's just say the story should have been published. And when it disappears, what does that normally mean? I am 99.98% sure there was no article because there was a settlement. Maybe other settlements as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all pretty damning. It doesn't look good for Chris. I recommend if you're interested in this, going and watching the full hour, because there's a lot. They have a tremendous amount of detail in a 1 hour documentary. And then this guy Kyle Anderson goes on to basically say, like, he goes, I know people are going to say, like, I'm looking for attention or trying to get famous off this or whatever. And to that, I would say, I'm a guy with 500 Twitter followers. Going up against Brian Callen, Brendan Schaub, and Chris D'Elia is probably not a smart move for my comedy career. Right. Which I think does make sense. If he's a guy that works at the Comedy Store.
I think we know why Theo Von left that show.
Oh, good point. Good point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Theo Von might have, smelt danger coming.
That could have went in several directions.
Yeah, boy. And now I wonder. Now you kind of know why he didn't want to be with Schaub in that fucking Rough and Rowdy thing.
Yep.
He just cut off all ties.
Smart.
Yeah. So Chris D'Elia is a fucking maniac. It seems, and I take credit for being half right. I was wrong when the story came out because I felt like everyone immediately was like, this guy's a pedophile without having any evidence of that. And I wasn't wrong about that. Like, we did jump to a pretty harsh conclusion pretty quickly, but ultimately I was very wrong, you know, in my theory, because the guy was guilty of everything everyone was accusing him of, and probably more. But I do feel I was at least vindicated when I called out the apology and had the foresight to say, all right, I'm done.
Toast.
Wiping my hands, much like Theo Vaughn. I'm wiping my hands clean of this guy.
You know, I made the first clip and you sent that because I hadn't seen it. I hit play and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, go watch the whole documentary. It's rough.
Yep.
Boy, we did a lot today.
Sure did.
This was a good episode. I feel like we closed out. This is our last episode of, well, we'll do Patreon stuff next week, but our last free episode of 2022.
Yes. Yes,
I feel like it's a good one.
It was. I enjoyed it. Long, covered a lot of ground. Brendan Schaub as Batman needs to happen.
Well, that might be my favorite thing we've ever done.
Yeah, I think so.
Folks, spread the word. If you made it this far, you're obviously a fan of the podcast. Tell people to, even if they hate me or hate the show, well, you got to at least listen to Brendan Schaub as Batman, because it's just good for the world, I think. What that would do for comedy film.
It would rejuvenate it.
Would be like nothing. It would be something, you know, Richard Pryor and Robin Williams and Jim Carrey combined never could have done.
He's so great.
So, yeah. blindmike.net is where you can tell people to go. If you do want to recommend us to a pal, go to blindmike.net. Subscribe to the Patreon only if you like us. Don't do us any favors. Don't give us any charity. But if you like the show, you want to support us, subscribe to the Patreon. If you just want to support the show for free, then do it that way. Give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube. Tap the bell for notifications. Like all our videos. Comment. All of that helps the algorithm, supposedly. YouTube's been pretty decent lately. So hop on there. Support the community. And anything people should look for on Very Good Show recently?
No, the flu has kind of killed us in 2 separate weeks. So we were just doing Patreon stuff remotely for the last 2 weeks. But we'll be back to normal next week.
Quite, if that gripped you, folks, and made you want more, go to verygoodshow.org.
I know we've had things happen in like the last 5 weeks, and this one I'm like, nah, everyone's sick.
We'll go to verygoodshow.org nonetheless. Support.
Go buy some Very Good Show merch.
Yes, we got merch as well.
Yeah.
Buy some Gearhead merch. Why are you laughing? Blind Mike Project. Oh, all right. Well, we're not done yet, folks, because we have our outro, which is usually the best part of the show. So we'll see you guys. But that's to send everyone off on a nice note. Thank you for all the support this year. We appreciate it. You guys are the best, genuinely. And let's spread the word. Let's make next year an even bigger year. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that horse shit. And we'll see you guys in the new year.
Sappers clear the way. Everyone all the way. If I tell you you've got a homicide, buddy, you've got a homicide.
I hope to hear from you soon.
I am proud to own the Trumpy beer, and I will always be proud to be an American.
Until then, have yourself